Good evening, everybody. I'm Nazli Daniels, and I'm from Stellenbosch University International. And my unit is within the undergrad degree enrollment and support. And tonight we are here to address all of the queries and questions that you have, where we are going to try to ease some of your confusion. I think the main thing to remember, it is a daunting task to submit application, and we are here to assist you with that. Soon we will also be updating a link on how to apply, so please look out on our webpage for the information regarding that. So I will be addressing some of the questions that we've already received, and we have received quite a number. There are quite a number that are similar, so I'm going to start off with the main thing. Who is supposed to write NBTs? NBTs are only applicable for the law programs, and that includes the BAc LLB, the BA Law, and the BCom Law and LLB, whereas you will be writing certain NBTs, and for that you would need to make a booking and do it by the end of August. So that is the one part, and there's another one that is quite interesting that we've received. There is one that says, is 85% for IGCSE a good average for occupational therapy? Please bear in mind that within the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences, they only consider international candidates within the status of permanent residency in South Africa, refugee or asylum, and South African citizens. If as an international student you submit application, they will not be considering your application if you do not fall into any of those categories. And selection guidelines are specific to a faculty, so bear in mind that the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences, they have selection guidelines per program, and you will be able to browse that on marties.com. For the purpose of someone submitting application, please note there is a tab when you have submitted application or that you are busy submitting application, where there's an indicator saying what is your current activity. If you are currently in grade 12, then there will be an indicator stating grade 11 passed. Yes, we know, for the international education boards, there is not something like a grade 11 or grade 12, but this is just for the purpose of the equivalency for the National Senior Certificate and the IEB. So, current activity is important. If currently in grade 12, still finishing your subjects and your respective levels, please then choose current activity being grade 12, and then you indicate your subject that you're busy with, and please note, when you upload documents, and you may have already finished your schooling, please combine all of the documents that will include, for example, under the Cambridge International Examination Board, the IGCSE, the AS level, and if applicable, the A levels, as that is then important for us to evaluate and send through to faculties for their recommendation. And that will lead to either you getting a conditional offer or you getting a communication from our office stating application incomplete as all the documentation has not been received. There are two questions that I'm going to address simultaneously, and that includes the sports science. BA Sports Science will not be presented any longer as of 2025, which means you can only submit application for a BSc Sports Science. There are some questions that link to, so what happens after? When you receive your conditional offer, and please make haste in accepting the offer, because then the international office can assist by sending out the letter of admission, where the letter of admission is then needed for you to apply within your country, if you are still in that country, for your study visa. As for someone to register at Stellenbosch as an international student, you require a valid study visa. This is quite an interesting one that I just want to also share with you. Please note the following. Universities South Africa, in short, USAF, they have compiled equivalency, whereas Cambridge, Pearson EdXL, International Baccalaureate on SL level, that those educational boards are the equivalent to the National Senior Certificate. The international schooling boards are not regarded as higher, and yes, we do realize that some of the content that you deal with within the respective subjects are a little bit more challenging, but it is regarded at the same level. We use a conversion table when we evaluate an application, so please note that you will not be disadvantaged and you will be regarded in the same vein as someone who submitted an application with a National Senior Certificate or with an IEB. This is also something that we also need to emphasize. If someone submitted an application and they are busy with the AS level subjects, then there's an indicator on the applicant portal that you can say, I am busy rewriting. And the reason why we have included that is basically that we will await those results of the AS before we'll be able to give you an offer, or some faculties will even give you a waiting list indicator just as a means of preparing you. It's going to be a little bit difficult if you should apply for a study visa, as you do require a letter of admission to a program in order to submit your study visa application. Someone also asked, very interestingly, am I required to pay the application fee immediately after applying? The application fee payment is open up until the point where your application has not been submitted yet, as far as I know. Yes, we've received quite a number of queries as of late that the payment system has been giving us some issues, and in that vein we've shared the banking details just to assist you in making that payment while that glitch is being sorted. We've informed all of the relevant stakeholders who are involved with the payment of the application fee to assist our students and our international applicants specifically to ease the payment of the application fee. When someone is applying for computer science is a program within the Faculty of Science, and for that purpose, if you are currently still concluding and completing your AS level subjects, please note you need to include the completed IGCSE subjects as well as a reference letter from your school that indicates the AS level subjects that you are busy with, as that will give us an indication on perhaps giving you a conditional offer while we await the final results. And in some cases, the AS level results will only be available end of July, August maybe, and in some cases, the end of December, early January. In that regard, please, when you submit your documentation, do make reference of the completed IGCSE as well as the AS or even A-level subjects that you are busy with. Someone asked if there is a cap on the number of international applicants being considered per faculty. No, as long as an applicant meets the selection requirements as set by the respective faculties, their application will be considered and they will be receiving a conditional offer. The conditional offer is usually communicated by the end of August at the latest, whereas from the international officer's side, we then start sending out the letter of admission once any applicant has already accepted their offer that they have received, as we can only send out the letter of admission once you have accepted your offer for your particular program. there is a question that relates to matriculation exemption. Please note that matriculation exemption is assisted, you will be assisted with that application within our office, whereas once you have registered at Stellenbosch University, we will assist you with your matriculation exemption application. When you submit application, it is important to note you may have finished off your IGCSE O-levels. In some countries, it is still referred to as O-levels. And if still busy with AS, we just need an indication as to which AS level subject you are currently busy with, as that will then assist us with the evaluation in making a predicted matriculation exemption evaluation, whereas the requirement entails 4 AS level subjects with a minimum grade pass of at least a D, and then 1 IGCSE O level with a minimum grade pass of at least a C. That means matriculation exemption requirement is then first and foremost as an evaluation, and then we look at faculty specific, and then the faculty will look at the selection guidelines as set. As minimum requirements may be met, but each and every faculty, they may have a different selection criteria where only certain number of candidates can be selected, and that is then where the selection comes in. And it is based on academic merit, where in most cases they will look at your overall average for that purpose. There is one that relates to some of the student communities on Stellenbosch University, on the campus itself. There are quite a number of student communities that you can join once you register. So once you are a registered student at Stellenbosch, you will be informed about all the student activities and communities that you'll be able to sign up for. And in most cases, the communities and some of the student clubs may require a fee. So just bear in mind that that will be charged to your student account. We use a conversion table that is the equivalent of certain percentages that relates to an achievement result according to the educational board. So bear in mind that nobody is disadvantaged at all. You will definitely be given the advantage when we evaluate, and depending on the results achieved, say for example you are busy with your AS level, then we use the placeholder of the same subject that you've completed on IGCSE and use the result achieved on IGCSE and give it onto the AS level subject, whereas that is then the average that we calculate. So that means we give you the benefit of perhaps a higher result, and that will lead to either a conditional offer or perhaps a waiting list indicator once the faculty have finalized their selection. We have an international undergraduate application booklet on our webpage, so I strongly advise that you do some research there. If you put in Google Stellenbosch University International, you will be able to access our webpage, and then you'll be able to access our booklet. At this stage, it is quite difficult to explain all the respective minimum requirements. We have really done some hard work with respective faculties to get all the minimum requirements and to structure that within a booklet. So I strongly advise that you do your research and browse our respective booklet with the requirements as listed. With reference to the rewrite of subjects, when an applicant has submitted an application and they've indicated a rewrite, yes, some faculties may give you feedback for a different program than the one that you submitted application to. And that comes down to the following. There are enrollment plans that the faculties use where they can only give as many conditional offers per group, and that is also to prepare the logistics within a faculty. So if you are repeating and rewriting subjects, please go and verify if there's not a program where you do meet minimum requirements for. And that comes down to, if for the higher requirements you are rewriting subjects, go and check the other program that you may meet requirements for. And that will make it easier for you to perhaps get an earlier conditional offer while you await the final results. And within a faculty, for example, the question relates to actuarial science. If when you submit application, the requirements do not meet the actuarial science requirements, then the faculty will not be able to give you a conditional offer. So go and verify if there's not a program that you can submit or that you can request amendment of via the Info and Client Service Center. If you wish to make amendments to your program choices, then it will be easier for you to go and check and verify another program within the same faculty that you do meet the requirements for. And then there will be a reconsideration link at registration where the faculty will then reconsider on account of the final results and those candidates who have rewritten or have already received then their final results for the subjects that they have redone. There's a question that relates, does Stellenbosch offer pharmaceutical sciences? Unfortunately, we do not offer pharmacy as part of our program offering at Stellenbosch. You will need to seek alternatives that relate to other universities within South Africa. NBTs, again, just want to emphasize, there just came a question through that relate to NBTs again. NBTs are only applicable to programs within the Faculty of Law, and they include LLB, BA Law, BCom Law, and BAc LLB. So, as an international student, access the NBT webpage and verify as to where you'll be able to write. In the past, we have received, the Faculty of Law has given conditional offers to our international candidates, and they've indicated that they've written the NBTs elsewhere. On the NBT webpage, you'll be able to access the various centers and where you'll be able to write the NBTs. When you submit application again, I just want to touch on this question that we have received. Some candidate mentioned now, a prospective candidate, that they have 8 subjects. The listing, when you indicate your subjects on our application portal, it is limited. That means you would need to make a decision as to your best, for example, 6 subjects. You will not be able to include all 10 or even 12, for example. So choose your best subjects and upload the necessary documentation. As mentioned, if busy with AS level subjects, you've completed IGCSE, make one combined document when you upload, or if there are 2 separate categories, one for grade 11 and one for grade 12, upload the IGCSE results under grade 11, and the grade 12 subjects will then refer to your AS level subjects that you are busy with. And that is then evaluated by our office, where we will evaluate on account of results achieved on account of IGCSE to give you that benefit, and that will lead to you getting a possible conditional offer from a faculty for a particular program. Someone also asked us now, is it worthwhile to submit application if your results at this point do not meet the minimum? I would say submit application, because there is a reconsideration option available depending on the program and depending on the faculty. Yes, some faculties are quite strict when it comes to their selection guidelines, but do submit an application, because then you can put forward a reconsideration request on account of your final results. For an international student, a reconsideration is a little bit challenging, and it will all depend now on in which category you may be falling. For a permanent resident in South Africa, reconsideration may be easier, as you will not require a study visa. And that is similar to someone who has asylum seeker status and refugee status. As an international candidate who will be studying with a study visa, reconsideration will be a little bit more challenging, as you will not get your study visa in time. So, as mentioned, if falling in categories that relate to refugee, asylum seeker, or permanent residency in South Africa, reconsideration will be easier if with your current results you do not meet requirements. The Faculty of Law have set out selection guidelines. So for the purpose of the weighting of NBTs and how that is taken into account, please refer to martis.com, and then you go onto the Faculty of Law to just browse through on their selection guidelines. At this point, we are inundated with quite a number of undergraduate applications, so our evaluation process is underway. And we are doing our best to give you feedback as soon as possible. But please note, the selection feedback will only be communicated at the latest by the end of August. For the purpose of someone who has completed their schooling, on our application system, we still use references that relate more to the National Senior Certificate. For one, they refer to grade 11, grade 12. Please note that if you have already concluded your studies, your schooling, you would need to choose your current activity as either, if you take a gap year, that means you are not currently studying and you are perhaps not working, or you are doing some kind of interesting gap year work. So if your current activity includes busy with grade 12, then the highest grade passed will be indicated as grade 11. And that, again, the terminology we use refers to the National Senior Certificate. And yes, we had some difficulty to try and change that, but we had to settle for using the National Senior Certificate terminology. So if currently busy with AS level, with A level, or you are busy concluding your international baccalaureate, so then you would need to indicate still busy as a grade 12, and the highest grade passed will then be grade 11. If you submit an application for a program where you've checked that you do not meet the minimum admission requirements, please note that we would need a reference from the school that relate to the subject that you are busy with on AS level, because that will assist us in making a comprehensive evaluation of your application in order to assist the faculty to make a decision for possible selection and giving you a conditional offer. So if your final results only come out in January of 2025, it is important to note that we will then share a link with all of the applicants those applicants who have received a conditional offer, who have received a final offer, to upload your final results for the faculty to either issue for those conditional offers the final offer, or just a confirmation for those who have already received a final offer that the results were indeed the final results. So for the purpose of an interest in the programs in the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences, please, again, the faculty are quite strict about their selection, where the selection will only be focused on South African citizens, international students who fall within the following categories: those with permanent residency in South Africa, those with refugee or asylum seeker status. Any international applicant who submits application for MBCHB and they do not fall in any of the above mentioned or the aforementioned categories, they will not be considered and they will not be selected. That is just something we need to emphasize. And yes, we are aware that when you access the drop-down for undergraduate application, you can still access the application. We have updated information that relates to 2025. That includes the minimum admission requirements for all international education boards. It also includes some information that relates to what the possible career options will be. Our online open day is also open up until the 31st of July. And that is just, again, please submit your undergraduate application at the latest 31st of July, as we are not going to consider any late applications. Someone just asked us now, if you completed both AS and A-level, that will now be, when we evaluate an application like that, it will come down to the following. We are going to try to give you the benefit. So if the results achieved on your AS level subjects, depending also firstly on meeting matriculation exemption, we will use the results where the level of subjects where the results are higher. So basically, if you've achieved great results for A levels, we will use those A level results. And if the results for AS levels were better, we will use that result. So that is just to give you the benefit in order to meet the faculty specific, not only minimum requirements, but also the selection requirements. Okay, there's another question that relates to if I'm busy with my grade 12 AS level subjects. Please include a document from the school that just gives us an indication as to the subjects and the number of subjects that you are doing on AS level, as well as the completed IGCSEs that you've already concluded, as that will give us an indication to evaluate possible and predicted matriculation exemption, and then look at the faculty-specific requirements to give you that benefit of getting an earlier offer. If you have received a conditional offer for those candidates who have completed Cambridge IGCSE and those busy with AS or A-level, that means you are given a conditional offer, similar to any NSC candidate who submitted application with their grade 11 results. So it comes down to the following. You will get a conditional offer on account of a predicted mark given to you for the AS level or A-level subjects that you are busy with, as well as the IGCSE results that you have submitted. So when you receive your final results in January, you will then share with us the final results as per the link that we will communicate with you early January, as well as with the evaluation, the faculty will then update and give you a final offer. So that is how the sequence will work. You will get a conditional offer because you are still busy concluding your particular subjects and the respective levels. For anyone who has submitted an application early April, please note that we are busy with the evaluation. Some faculties have even concluded the first round of selection, for example, the Faculty of Science. So as we are finalizing the evaluation of your application, please note that after that, the respective faculties will give you feedback at the latest, the end of August. An international student is not regarded differently to a South African candidate. That comes down to anyone who submits an application and they meet the minimum requirements. They would still need to meet the faculty selection requirements. So you are not regarded any different than a South African candidate. If you meet the minimum selection requirements of the faculty, you will be either communicated a conditional offer or a final offer depending on your current activity. Anyone who wants to still amend their applications, please take note of the following. If you have submitted your application, you are not able to make any amendments. But there is our client service center, info@sun.ac.za, that you'll be able to send an email to with your request that you want to make an amendment, for example, to your program, or to 2 of your programs that you've submitted application to. Unfortunately, you will not be able to make any amendments if you've already submitted your undergraduate application. For anyone who has already received a matriculation exemption certificate, in that regard, again, please upload all the relevant documentation and make one single file. If you have 3 documents that you would want us to be aware of for evaluation purposes, please upload it as one single file, whereas you then create one file within the Adobe Acrobat portal that you'll be able to then upload for us to review. Unfortunately, we have become aware that when you submit 3 documents as single documents on your application, the last document is the only one that will be reflecting on your application. So that's why we are emphasizing to use a portal or a program where you are able to combine 3 documents to make it one single file and then upload. And that is specifically for candidates with a current activity being they are not working, they are in college, or they are at another institution, for example. For someone who may have not concluded and completed all the relevant IGCSE subjects, it is important for us that you indicate when you upload a document either from the tutor center, the private institution that you are doing your AS level subjects at, for us just to have an indication as to the level that you are busy with, as that is important for us to evaluate and give you a proper feedback. If you do not include the proper documentation, your application can reflect as incomplete, and by the end of August, we will then communicate to those applicants that unfortunately we did not receive all the proper documentation, so your application could not have been reviewed or considered. A similar process for someone with South African citizenship and they are doing an international education board. That is a similar process. You would need to submit all the relevant documents. You would need to include your examination board, and you would need to make reference to your current levels, your current subjects, so we can make an evaluation from the Central Application Officer's side to give you feedback on your respective program options. For anybody who who will be submitting an application at Stellenbosch University, please note there are indicators that you'll be able to choose. Your country of citizenship will reflect the one that is on your passport. And if you fall within a category, either refugee or asylum seeker, you would need to submit a document for our purpose that is similar to permanent residency as well. So we can just review that document is a proper document and still valid, that the dates as indicated in the document is still valid as well. There has been some information that relate to South African citizens doing the American high school diploma. And for that purpose, I am going to refer you to our Central Application Office for that detail. We have received the guideline that include having a 3.5 GPA and then meeting set criteria. So a document is still being compiled, and I think it is being communicated on the application for those candidates as South Africans doing the American high school diploma. So if you have queries, please also send that email through to Client Service Center or access our martis.com so you can get the contact information of our colleagues in the Central Application Office. Okay. And we have tried our best tonight to assist you with some of the queries and the questions and uncertainties that you may have had regarding Stellenbosch. In order to assist you further, I'm just going to finish off with the following, that studying abroad for our international candidates, it can be challenging but also very exciting. So if you are considering any institution in South Africa, make it Stellenbosch University, as we are rooted in Africa, but we are global in reach.